Welcome, traders, investors, punters, and dribblers, to another Traders Community podcast. We got through the week. Pretty volatile week today with some wild swings in stocks like Facebook and Amazon and PayPal and Snap and to name a few with big 20-25% moves. We saw oil over $93, West Texas Intermediate. We saw wild moves on natural gas, up and down 15%. We saw big moves on currencies and bonds. So a crazy, crazy week. Not to mention the weather is all crazy. Even down here in Texas, we have freezing weather and snow in not far away. We have the Olympics started over there in China in the Winter Olympics. So you got Nova Wave and Madavi here. So we're going to go through what today's carry on, if you will.
What's that?
We're going to go through today's carry on. So what happened? So basically, as far as I'll go through myself, strategy today, as those who are around, we saw Amazon pop up after the market pretty well with the algo driven. And what we saw was, what was it, Madavi? Like a $500 rally, right?
Yeah. Amazon's up. What is it called? 300 points today, so it was down to about 400 or 500 points.
Yeah, so it was one heck of a rally, and I hung around. I actually, after yesterday's podcast, I read the report a little bit thoroughly, and what I noticed on it, 80% plus of that big profit was all from taking profit on Rivian, RIVN, the electric car they had a big share of, and Ford was the same thing. Now, those familiar with it, Rivian's fallen, 50 cents.
You said profit. Did they sell their shares or
no? They just had to book it mark to market because it came on as an IPO, so they had to show it as a profit number.
If they're still in it, they could have a panic order next.
Right, and so that's what I'm going to get to. I looked at it and went, dang, well, if that's it, but I wasn't going to touch Amazon, as you know. But what I did do was turn around and sell the Spoos and went short of the Spoos overnight. So I did pretty well on that. Was really all I did on that. I did not short the NQs. That would have been a really big winner. And then pretty well took profit on that. This AM we had the NFP come out, so we scalped around that a little bit. I had some, what else did we have on that strategy from yesterday? I had some IWM puts and some Apple puts. We did pretty well on the Apple puts. We took them in this morning as well. And we'll go through on the chart where we did it. Then in the afternoon, I wasn't around much. It's you're going to all laugh if you're in anywhere north of pretty well Houston probably. But the schools were shut today because of the cold blast. It was under 30 degrees Celsius. Oh, sorry, Fahrenheit. Celsius would be interesting. So obviously had that kind of took away a lot of the trading, but it's been a really good week, and we're going to go through that. Madavi, being in California, didn't have that issue, so he traded pretty extensively today on NASDAQ, as you know. So we're going to go through that. First thing we'll go through, so you have a brief overview of today in front of you, the main markets we trade. Russell finished down. That was pretty weak. NASDAQ was a big winner. As you can see, Spoos came down, bounced strongly through the day and came off in the last 10 minutes or so. Crude was just another beast, but it is off $2 off its high, or $1 and change off its high, actually. And that's actually recalc, so we'll go through that again. And NASDAQ the NASDAQ. Natural gas got as high as $5.50 this week, and we've gone out at $4.50, so $1 off the high. We do have crazy temperatures, but a lot of the people that get on these things are pure speculators. They don't know what they're doing. So, the dribblers need to stay away from that stuff. Well, actually, we don't mind them being in them, actually, when we think about it, right, mate? So let's look at the mighty Spoos. So, on a daily basis, we broke up through the week. We see we broke over the Tenkin, we got over the Cajun and did some work. This morning, we came down and tested the Tenkin. And we didn't actually exactly get to it. We held it. We can see on the weekly, we didn't get back over the Cajun, but we do have two green spugs. No divergence on either of these charts. On the 5 minute here, you can see what we're talking. Actually, this is the future versus cash. That's correct. So we got both things up there. You can see what we did. We fell down nicely this morning after NFP. And then we just rallied after that double test. See how it couldn't go lower? So that's your 1, 2. We had 3 waves up to the top. So 4, 8's a nice measured move. And we closed down strongly here. That's a good sell-off I missed there, mate, when I was out. So that's 50 handles there. It came back. So you're seeing a lot of people are pulling out early. So the liquidity is in there. So these moves are quite extended. And so that's the move I'm talking on here with the Rivian move. We'll see this better if I put this on a wider time scale, mate. Let's do like an hourly. Oh, I'm calling it the Rivian just because that's when the penny dropped. So after yesterday's... Is that coming through okay? Yeah, so after yesterday's Amazon report... hang on, lads. So we had this big jump up, right? And then we had this. So this is Amazon. We had this sell-off because myself and others obviously realised this, and then the inflation factors and all the other factors kicked in. The algos kicked in because everyone was thin because all the big shops when traders were out because of NFP on its way. And keep in mind, you don't do... Sometimes you put on a lot of size on that trade because of the risk, right? Then we came down on an hourly. We saw this work here and we broke up exactly to that high. What a perfect double trade. Unfortunately, I wasn't here. I missed this trade. And we came back down to collect it. Okay, let's look at the NASDAQ. Which one did we put the NASDAQ on? Spoos. As I said, we're still getting used to this little beauty. Did you trade the Russell much today? Let's have a quick look at the Russell and then we'll convert this to NASDAQ. Couldn't get enough of it, right?
I was active, but I really wasn't because the position, was keeping me busy.
Right.
So whatever I would do in the NQs, it would take it back twice in my little wonder.
Got you. So here's the Russell. So we look at the daily. What we did today, man, hasn't been nice to trade really. There's not many market makers in it. Not a lot of as far as the options go and the foods. Okay, so we came down on the daily. We spat the Tenkin and closed above it. So from a bullish perspective, that's healthy. This is a 1, 2. And if that holds, we have our target up here at 207 on the Cajun. Downside's pretty clear. It gets under this low. And they've got all this room underneath. And there's a lot of room on Murray, right? If I just scroll that up. On a weekly, if we just looked at the Spoos is way up here, right? This thing's, it's just, we know what it stands for, no surprise. 1 hour, you can see it just dribbled. And you can see that little hold on the 5 minutes. I mean, that whole range is 200 at the top, 194 at the bottom. So a tight range today. Wow. I've been, on the NASDAQ. So let's have a quick look. Let me just put in the NASDAQ here. whoops. Put in the right thing always helps, right? So we're trading the 400. There we are. Which is the one Rome looks at. This one, I believe. So here's the NASDAQ. We'll just, on the 5 minute. See if I can move. Okay. So there we have it. You know what? I'm going to put it on one big chart. That might be better for us, okay? Don't you think? Okay, here we go. So here's a NASDAQ on a 30-minute basis. So we get, well, actually, you know what? Let's do an hourly first. So we'll go through it. So I wanted to see what we've come down over the last report. Here again is the move yesterday from good old Amazon. See how it jumped up. We came down hard this morning and went lower. Do you want to walk us through the NASDAQ, mate?
Yeah, well, overnight we rallied up. I think we were up as high as last night, up 300 points. And then by the open, we were down to the flat line, until the jobs report came out. And when the jobs report came, it flew like really, it basically put the, what do you call it, the test in the, it really gave it the steroids it needed to really boost it.
They got a boost?
It was all roided out, The market got all roided out on the roid rate. And, the funny thing is, I was holding this snaps. I still have some too. I'm still holding it. I think it's going to come back down short. So I'll try to keep an eye on both and try to trade that while everything's swinging. So whatever I would do in the NAS, snaps would take it away twice as much.
The Lord giveth and taketh away, huh?
The good part about it is I was more, I usually trade hundreds of trades, sometimes doing 500 trades a day, up to. But today I took my pieces, I waited for it to top out, then to get in. So I probably did less trades and made good money with doing less,
Right, which is something we were talking about yesterday. The more trades you do, the more odds of
up to. Yeah. So the trick with the way I was usually trade is I usually try to keep my losses at a very, very, very minimum. And that's why I keep getting stopped out. That's why the trades come a lot, compared to letting it go for a loser for a little while and then knowing the pattern's going to be like this. Because every time I do that, it seems like I get caught. So today I was a little bit more objective about it, and I'm glad I did, because today was really choppy. I mean, one time during the middle of the day, we just went negative almost. You remember that, mate?
Yeah. That was just before I had to leave with the kids and stuff, yeah.
But then this was after the earnings, too. I think we had one other sell-off, right? Then they just came back, and it held. It went red for a little bit or flatline and just took off out of a banshee. I mean, you get caught in those, man. Oh, man, it could give you a headache. And then with the last 5 minutes to go, I was feeling the market looking weak. Things were starting to sell off. And I sold a bunch of the NQs, made some nice profit on there. And, besides that, I was on snaps. I was selling some puts that were ending today, just taking income. So I was taking in income as much as I could. Well, if I'm gonna hold these things, might as well try to get paid as much as I can. So I made some money back on the options, selling puts. So that was good.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, I mean that was a good show of recovery. So, I mean, some of these markets are just crazy, and if it gets too one way, and Snap's a great example of that. How that was the best percentage mover this week's astonishing when you think their earnings weren't particularly good. It's a very small rise. So it was downgraded actually at a couple of big shops this morning.
Yeah.
But again, you can just show it's all about order flow. A lot of these moves, right? I mean, even Amazon like I said, it was Rivian, so I was able to put on a good Spoos short, and I don't trade the NQs, but you can see the penny dropped on a lot. And a lot of these things become self-fulfilling. Once it starts falling and the news gets around, and by legitimate, well, when I say legitimate, CNBC and people like that, then it gets talked about, people get nervous, the bids drop away, right? Well, the difference was on Amazon and Snap as well, is the machines took them up it's like an air pocket, both those two. So a lot of good orders would have got filled on the way up. So they're different, right? They're not going to have as much people as an index in them. So eventually that air comes out, but it can be a harrowing situation.
Snaps because of Facebook, and they sold that thing down to 25. I mean, you got to remember, just a couple of weeks ago, that stock was $80. So
which one was 80?
Yeah. What's that?
Which one was 80 a few weeks ago?
Snap.
Oh, really? It was that high?
Yeah.
Dang, look at that one.
November, it was like $80.
Yeah, I remember, and we were astonished at that. I tell you one thing it did say.
Came out, and I don't know why it sold calls on it. I was going to sell puts on it, and I don't know. Something made me change my mind at the last second, and it was something got in my head. But if I would have gone with that, it would have been perfect. But selling those calls just didn't work out. But here's one thing for you guys. My main point to that is, right, the people who get in these bad positions, right, if you're not going to get out, you're going to hold on to it. There's ways you can make incomes on these trades using options. So, and you could also get back a lot of the buying power that is getting stuck. Because a lot of you guys probably get stuck in these positions and lose your buying powers too. So you can offset some of that, not all of it, by the options market. And we'll go through that one day, but you can also get paid. That's the main thing I want to talk about. So when you sit there, you can get paid on selling, if you're long, short, whatever it is, selling calls or selling puts. One way for you to make an income while your stock's underwater.
Yeah, and particularly in high vol situations, that can be really powerful. So it is. So you're going to get caught at times. I mean, that's reality if you're a trader. I mean, so particularly more strategic, where we're not in and out scalping, and we certainly don't go into longs with a view where we think we're better than anyone else, which is what you've all found out. Particularly all the punters and dribblers that were all very noisy when it was a bull market, and to make fun of that approach because they think the bid's going to always come back, right? So we don't do that. But we can still get caught on stuff because, this is what happens. And so you can take advantage of that, of managing that position if you still believe in it and obviously have the equity and all that sort of stuff. But, yeah, that could be a whole topic, I think, mate. Maybe we'll do that next week or something.
Yeah. How to kind of get paid while you wait if you're...
Well, yeah, so you're bringing down your break even and things like that by doing that, right?
Well, one thing you gotta do it on. You can't just do it because if your stock happens to go in hibernation, you're probably not going to do that well. You're probably not going to make much doing it.
Yeah, and sometimes you just got to cut it. So this is in a situation where it's a viable trade.
Or earnings when that stock has got high volatility, and take advantage of those days and do it.
Well, here I just put up the Snap daily chart, so I see what you mean. Look, so it looks like in October last year, which isn't that long ago, it hit a high of 83.50, and then it had this big gap down. I'm guessing that's its last earnings. So a gap down from $73 down to $60. That's what it was?
Yeah, those are earnings.
So then, and from there, it's just been a waterfall since. Then we had this little island reversal. So I got to say, I haven't looked at this chart, and a pity I didn't. So an island reversal. So you don't know it's an island reversal, of course, till the next day. So it's a bit of a Johnny Hindsight thing. But this was when Meta, and as Madavi said, the Meta world blew up this week. In fact, Johnny's in hiding, I think, right? And so, all jokes aside, that killed a lot of these stocks, right? Twitter, Snap. What's the other one we're thinking of?
But here's the thing: is with the Apple, the new Apple, is you have to give approval if you want these stupid tagged with commercials or whatever they put on your phones. Yeah, so nobody's gonna give them approval. But they think that Snap was able to find a better go around, but that's not true because what Snap does, it deals with a couple of big commercial things of big companies compared to Facebook that has to find every individual. If the guy wants a sock, whatever it is looking for. So it's a lot different, and they don't have as many advertisers as Facebook's got. So they did not find a crack to the Apple thing. They're still having hard times. They just have a few of these larger businesses that advertise with them. But Facebook is so big; there's not enough of those big businesses.
Right, that's the mass, the collective mass.
Yeah, so Facebook has to get every individual. Like, if I wanted something, I want this guy. They literally let you pick it out, and they just go straight to those people. That's how much Facebook knows about you.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people just don't want that, right? I mean, for obvious reasons, why would you? But an interesting comparison is, let's compare. So, Facebook decide, we all know they want to change their narrative and all that, so they change their name. Whatever the situation is, the bottom line is they believe they had this steady income, and a steady and growing income on advertising from ad clicks. Apple comes along and changes the rule for safety of themselves, and multiple reasons, all fair really, right? And then Apple's bet the house, well, I think it was 10 or 15 billion on changing to Metaverse, and their income's just collapsed, and there isn't an upside to it.
Calm down.
Their chairman or CEO, Zook, when they asked him yesterday, how's the Metaverse going, he couldn't give a precise or concise, really any viable answer, So you can see why it just got wrecked. Now compare that to Amazon. When Bezos was building it out and loss leading and everything, whether it was luck or good management, it doesn't really matter. AWS took off, and it was up again this month in the cloud, and he's able to fund all that consistently. And so that's a massive difference between the two. And Google, people say you can't compare them all. Well, you can, because they're in a similar space. And Google, again, obviously, they pay Apple. They worked it out. Zuckerberg won't, he was too arrogant or whatever to do a deal, I'm guessing, with Apple. I don't know 100% that there, but what we do know is Google pays Apple about $10 billion a year for their ads, right? For that system. So, just compare apples to apples, apples to near apples, and you can see what's going on and what the market likes and doesn't like. And what's interesting with Amazon, even with that Rivian big profit and, obviously a loss if it stays here next quarter, who knows where it is in 30 days, 90 days, whatever. Well, actually, we're already January, so 60 days. But they did guide lower as well, so we'll see. But a lot of people like the Prime, so the Prime raise. I can't say I'm a fan of that. Are you, Darby? Pay our extra $3 or $4, whatever it is.
Yeah, probably.
But in reality, it's not a lot of money. Most people stay with it, and so you can argue, and we fairly argue, that now they have monopolistic power. They can kind of do what they want. So we saw the same thing with Netflix. They increased theirs. So basically, they're evolved where they believe enough in their product. The other thing is they can do it under guise of inflation right now. So there's an excuse. People will look the other way rather than ship and shop around, to the other people. But that interesting chart on.
The next problem Facebook has got. When you got 3 billion people, you're kind of running out of people.
Yeah. There's a saturation point, right? Well, here's a weekly on Facebook, and you can see we're under everything. We need to go to a daily on this. Weekly, sorry. We were there. So look how far. I mean, that's so. Just people laugh at us when we invest in cycles and companies that make money and stuff like that. We knew our oil and gas. So, I mean, and our friend Tracy, you may know as Chai Girl, copped a lot of she's on Twitter a lot more than what we are, but a lot of vitriol off all these people, and it's all just sound investment advice, and you're sharing it. You're not telling anyone what to do, by the way. But the reason I'm against it, these things get saturated. Just like you could argue when oil gets too high or whatever, or people finally change over to a different system or whatever. But the reality is, as Madavi just said, two things are important here. One, it's saturated. And the market, just because of greed, the greedy, and they're the ones whining. Well, as they would collectively say, F them, when they ignored all the abuses and Zuckerberg making fun of how easy people are and, I've got nothing to hide, but they're selling all your stuff. They're manipulating stuff, then kicking people off. It's meant to be free speech, whatever it is. This, in my opinion, in our opinion, we spoke about it before, this was bound to happen. But to happen this quickly is pretty brutal, to say the least, right? And they're going to have to reinvent themselves.
Hey mate?
Yeah?
PTON.
Oh, PTON?
Yeah, I just picked it up 2680. Look at it.
Okay, I mean, they got earnings next week too.
Yeah, but something about Amazon or something, I don't know.
Oh, okay, let's look at it on a 5-minute. Do you have the news, or do you want me to look at?
Yeah, if you want it here, I'll send it to you. There you go.
Yeah, if you can, and then we'll share it.
Do it now. There you go.
I see it moving. There we go, people. Oh, wow, that just jumped $6.
I got out, and I shorted some. I got out at 34, shorted some at 33.80, but I got long at 26.50. So I've just been trading it back and forth. I'll try and tell you without.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
It's an interesting little thing. I mean, it's something with Amazon got to do with it.
Okay, let me check and I'll read it out. Okay, Peloton jumps 30% as suitors, including Amazon Circle Company. So, yeah, there has been talk about someone wanting to buy them. So, Amazon themselves may be looking at buying them. No deal is imminent. There might not be one, but Amazon has been talking to an advisor about a potential deal for the beleaguered bike maker, according to the report. The report is from Wall Street Journal, so it's credible in that sense. And remember, this is one we were big shorts on a couple of weeks ago, but we don't. Potentially, and actually, it's not unlike that share chart we just saw on Snap. This is a 5-second chart. I just wanted to show you how it's trading. I'll look back at the thing.
Oh, it's moving fast.
Yeah.
That's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, so there's rumors. It's up 40% on being acquired, and Amazon, who, man, maybe they're going to make some money on that. They made all that money on Rivian. Well,
yeah.
Here's the funny thing is they're probably going, damn, we should have sold Rivian at $170. Obviously. So here is, let me go a little bit. Let's look at a 1 minute. And here you can see the move, Madavi's. And thanks for sharing that, mate.
Yeah. I thought it would be a good experience while we're on here. If something breaks out like this, do it live.
Yeah. So here's where you've grabbed it at 26.
Yeah, 26.80. Yeah.
And then look at that. We went straight to 32.5. Pulled back at 28.50. This is like a natural gas chart. And then all the way up to 35 plus. So this was trading at 20. Remember, this has been beleaguered. They've been warning. They haven't been able to sell stuff. So if it's true with Amazon, it also, so Amazon, they did the brick and mortar thing to shore up their assets, like buying Whole Foods, people like that, and they're expanding into different areas. I could be wrong, but I don't recall them actually buying the end product before.
It's got on my shorts.
Welcome, Nick. Good to see you. Well, and lots of people joining us right now, so thanks for that. So,
One guy just went long yet.
To the moon. So let me go down to. So I just wanted to show where that came, but it does. Even with this movement, you will look at. What do you want at 1 second? No, we'll go 5. How about 15-second chart? There you go, peeps. So we'll keep that up while we're talking. But this is one certainly to keep an eye on if you're scalping it, like Madavi. I missed this, unfortunately. I didn't pick up when you signaled me.
Wave, so but you understand, we went up, now we come down. I want to see if now the news has got, and now I got the news probably faster than most.
Oh, so, for sure, you've grabbed it here. So we have a lot of algos that pick that up. So
I'm waiting for the second wave to rush in here and see if we get another up move or they're gonna sell it. So so I'm gonna let this thing have a little bit of room. I might only give it 5 points. Probably give it maybe 50 cents or something. Maybe max a point. But I tried not to.
Yeah, there's a little bit more volume than what I would have thought after what we saw on the futures market.
That's it on a Friday. Oh, man, maybe I got a little bit to it. Maybe they'll wait till the 30 before they run it. I thought they might do it quicker. Usually
Right.
If they're going to run it.
So we've already pulled back $4 from this high here. And you can see down the bottom here, people, there's volume. So you can see most of the volume was done up the top here. So these guys that are caught, they're averaging. So the way you look at the 3 waves, even though it's so, you can basically what you're seeing is this would have been the average. See the volume come back in? And then we've rallied back up here. So you can see that here. So we'll keep that up. While we're doing that, let's go through a little bit more. So we had the jobs number today. So I'll try and read this and without upsetting the chart we're watching. So, and this is all on Traders Community. You can go on the site. It's a great overview of it. So what happened was we had a blowout in. So it was 150 the expectations, right?
More.
Okay, we can see it right there in the corner. Actually, what I should do is move that over. That would have been the smart move, right? So, and this is all on Trades Community. We do a good little report, some of the writers there. So they're expecting 150, but in reality, a lot of people saw that ADP number, and that was minus 300. So a lot of people are looking for a negative number here. As I said, the main concern last night was going to be what the earnings were. They came out hot at 0.7. They were looking for 0.6. And here's the table of everything of the breakup. So 467. Now the big thing that a lot of people spoke about was the 2-month net revision. And that was a massive revision, right? From last month, it was 199. They brought it up to 500, but it was a what do they call it? A population review or something? Nice little quick 60 cents you got there, buddy.
Yeah. I'm up a little bit. I'm chilling it.
So we had that, so that distorts it all. So they took a lot of jobs off basically at the start of the year and put them back at the end. The participation rate was up. This was a good number. I mean, everyone was worried about Omicron. People are getting back to work. And I'm not as antsy about this, people getting paid more. The bottom line is America, particularly out of the Western countries, the higher, compare the minimum wage here to, say, Australia. I know Australia's much wealthier per capita and all that, but it's often compared together. It's $21 versus 10 or 12, right? So, And the other thing is, when the wages go up, people spend more, right? And if they're, as long as they're able to juggle their prices, what we have in the United States and a lot of Western countries is this entitlement of Wall Street types, where they'll take a couple of million and expect Freddie to do their lawn for $5 an hour, you know? A little bit exaggerated, but you get the point. Anyway, manufacturing was down 0.6%. That could be because factories are enclosed, people not going to work. Also, a lot of people are leaving lower paying jobs and going to other jobs or negotiating because they're underpaid. Inflation is, if you're not getting a higher salary, and inflation's and some of your goods are going up 10%. If you drive a car, you heat your house. I mean, we're going to go through that a little bit more of energy, but you obviously need a pay rise. The long-term unemployed came down from 1.7 from 2. And as you can see here, great. You can see live here what we're trading it. Well, I'm not, Madav is, but you can see a nice little pop there up and down. And it's volatile, so in this, you ease out some. It depends how you trade, right? So, underemployment was 0.7. We've also got a little chart because we've got a lot of DMs. What does U2 mean? What does U6 mean? So they're all different categories of employment and unemployment. And it's off the BLS website, but they call it alternative measures of labour underutilisation. So have a look at that. Now, here's the thing that just shows you. So analysts are basically those blokes, in my opinion, that can't trade or they can't half of them come from some Ivy League or daddy's got a big account. I shouldn't be that hard, but for this purpose we will be. They're just so wrong. I mean, we heard about Omnicrom, etc. Whoops, sorry, where did that go? So, leisure and hospitality added 151,000 jobs. Professional and business service, 86,000. Retail, 60,000. So something's going wrong with all that. Anyway, that's that. We wanted to talk about the bond market as a result. That's obviously pressure on inflation, right? When you get that kind of number. So what we saw in the bond market today, as a result of that, we saw a broadly lower mark as rates went up, right? And all different tenors slid past their January lows. So bonds going down means interest rates going up, right? So to end the week, the 30-year finished up 15 basis points, $2.23%. The ones we're really watching is the 2-year. Sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were saying something? On Peloton?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. And then, so the 2-year, which is the rate. So now people is going as high as 5 rate hikes this year. And even the February's meeting, which was 0, or close enough to 0 for rate rises, it's now at 50% after today's numbers. So most bets are on March being over a quarter or 50, 25 or 50 basis points. And the 10-year for the week was up 15 basis points to 193. So that's what happened there. Stocks over in Europe, most were down today. Remember we had lunar holidays, so obviously Chinese out and that, and also you got the Olympics. As far as today goes, the Dow finished down. Nasdaq and Spoos both finished up. As far as other earnings, we talked about Snap and Amazon. You also had Pinstrip. That was a kind of similar situation and got destroyed because of Facebook. It bounced 11% today on its earnings. Ford got sold off 9.7%. Sorry?
I've been adding more.
Oh, okay, nice.
I want to get sold at 30, 29.20. That's where I'm going to stop out. 29.80.
So you're giving a good chance for a good pull, revise. Now, scalp, as you can see.
No.
So, yeah. So,
So with these kind of moves, if you try to get in and out, you get stuck on one way and you get taken care of. So you got to make sure you got the momentum going your way.
Right. 100%.
So,
Welcome our checkmate to the podcast.
Oh fuck! I'm sorry. Should go now.
Oh, what was that in? What? I didn't know that. I don't speak Czech very well. But what was that word? So on so on the negative, we were talking about Ford fell 9%, Clorox fell 14.5%. I guess we're not using as much Clorox over there in the COVID den anymore, are we? So pretty well that's all the numbers, and they're all out there on the report. Let's have a quick look at oil and gas. I'll just switch over. Are you happy for me to switch over to oil and gas, Madavi?
yeah, go for it.
So everyone, there's your Peloton. It's 31.25. Nice bounce from that pullback. Where is our oil? So let's do natural gas first. As we said last on that 550, at the start of the middle of the week, where that hit, it hit all of our targets on the weekly and daily. It was also a massive IO level, and the commercials were short. So all the punters and dribblers out there, you need to listen to that or not trade them, because you're going to end up like this. This is $1 lower from there. It was also a perfect Murray Math level, and we went through the itchy. It was this double top over here on the daily as well. So that finished, and fundamentally, it's actually got colder, but it's also a lot about optionality, right? Everything gets ahead of itself. And as Madavi would say, what do you always say, mate? Buy the rumor, sell the fact, right? And so you can see on weekly the power of that move. And remember, this is either a 3 or 5, right? So we're correcting, we're doing a 1-2. Pretty simple stuff. Let's have a look at... So let's have a look at the wonderful energy policy of Joe Biden, and I can't remember her name, Grantham, I think, the energy minister. So this is what happens when those kind of policies or no policies come into play. We hit another 7-year high today, got over 93, which was on our short-term charts. This is we've actually recalced down here. I don't know if you're trading this one, mate, but... on the 2 minutes we recalced. So perfect here. Remember what I talked about when it does a double top and fails to go higher? Pretty easy sell, right? On oil here. And so we're seeing here, you remember these charts don't change. We put them on the weekly. We have our nice 5-week waves up. Remember again, the different degrees of what this is. So the most bullish is that this is just part of a first wave from that low, right? The bearish is that this is completing. So isn't that astonishing? And just think about this. There was a rumor that Dean Woods gave Joe Biden a call today to see if he had any more oil left from his SPR. Because it was a heck of a deal. I gave Exxon down there at $62, right? And you can see what happens when... Just think what that SPR is meant to be. It's meant to be for emergencies, right? I mean, that went well. And we had Her Majesty Nancy yesterday come out threatening all this stuff about Russia, which is what got this going. It got that breakup going from between 86 to 88 up to $92. Now, we have the Olympics started today. Vladimir's over there with Shea. Kissing and cuddling and all that sort of thing. What did you think was going to happen, right? And so if we go back to 2 Olympics ago, or 2 Olympics, maybe it's a few more than that. I'm trying to remember. When was the last one in China?
No, you mean
2004, the winner. I think it was 04.
I think it was 18 or 14.
No, it was 4. So George W. was the president of the US. So anyway, that's when Russia marched into Georgia. So a lot of this, we saw that thing yesterday the US government put out about how Russia's doing this and that, and we talked about people in the area just have a totally different view of both sides, right? So, but this is the result. By putting this fear, this is what you've got. Oil up here and natural gas well bid at $4.50, right? And who does that hurt? That hurts the small guy who your party or your government's meant to be representing. It gives money to Russia. It gives money to Texas, so I can't really complain. And beaucoup money to Australia. So thank you for that, Mr. Biden. But in a serious note, this is what's going on, and that's fueling inflation. Just be Jerome Powell for a minute and think, what the heck? And it's my fault, is it? So anyway, we try not to laugh too hard, but here we are. We actually have finally recalced on a daily basis on, you have all that room. Potentially, look at this. I don't think this is going to happen, but mathematically you can get to $200. Could you imagine? But anyway, this 100 is 8.8. So that's a measured move. That is possible. We are very, very well extended. So keep that in mind. For those, the punters and dribblers that probably shouldn't be trading oil, this thing can move very hard and very fast. You want to be trading it on a daily basis at the market. Use your Tankin and your Murray Math grid on a short-term basis. Let's go back to our PTON trade.
Yeah, I got a recorder. I'm looking to sell another quarter.
Oh, nice work, mate. So you can see kind of what we do, people. We watch order flow, watch news on our day trading stuff. So you probably just made enough to get another couple of...
Yeah, I could lose some more money in snaps. Just to fill it up.
Well, I was actually going to say you could go buy a... you could go buy a Peloton book. I'd imagine they're on sale right now too, are they?
Sale right now. I can pick up those $4,000 treadmills and bikes for like $400.
Actually, is Johnny? We need pity. Johnny's kind of hanging out with Zuckerberg this week, and they're crying a bit.
You find people even you haul it out in there. You got to take it.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, we just got a few comments there on the YouTube. So any questions, please feel free to ask us. So again, this is very fast. We're looking at a 15-second time frame. So in reality, we're not using Murray Math here. What we're doing is order flow. And you can see if you had the order box up. I mean, actually, if you'd want to walk us through what you're seeing down there to make you buy the feel. We can see on the chart the supply there, but...
The new driven event. So knowing that it's to the upside, I waited for it to extend out, which it went up to like 35. I got at 34. I got a little bit early. Then I started getting short. It went up to 30. Actually, it went to 35 when it stalled out. Then that's when it started coming down. I started getting short, and I thought I should take my short down to the 30, but I jumped it a little bit too early. I cleared out of my short, and I started getting my first long at 31.75, then all the way down to 30, just like I thought it was going to go. So to the whole numbers, I was talking about that earlier.
Right.
So it went down there. I bought a lot more down there, and I'm already out of half my position. But since this is strong news, unless something comes to contradict it, I'll stay longer on the long side, but shorter on the short side, because I know I'm going against the trend. Because I got probably a good chance, as long as I'm not too far out of money, for it to come back. And I can average in more.
Right, and you're keeping it close at hand. That's what we mean by trading at the market, right? Eyes up front trading is kind of what we do. So you can control your downside and give yourself every chance of...
So let me explain. When you speak after market trading at the market, you can be talking about a stock moving like this, a point to a point and a half, because it moves fast. There's not too many people who could have any decent amount of size and say they're getting in and out. It doesn't work like that. There's not levels there that you get out at everything, and the thing could drop a point on nothing.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to really watch that market maker box, and you find who the axe is, and the other thing is some of these moves get pumped for want of a better word, by some of the better trading rooms. So if you'll get to know which is the good ones. I mean the ones you find on Discord or Reddit or whatever. Some of them are good, some of them are trash. So if they're trash, fade them. That's simple. There's one bloke we could mention, but we won't, right, mate? But who to fade? But if you know they're in it and you know how they trade, and because remember, in a thin market, if some guy's in size, he's going to swipe everything down. And all of a sudden, that's a $50 move, right?
And that's how come it dropped like that. Because some guys when I go to get out, I'm not getting out like you guys are seeing 14. I'm not looking at 14. I'm looking at when I want to get out of something. I'm looking at 55. You know, if an emergency to get out. So don't ever look at the first or second level. Maybe go down to the third levels.
Yeah, get on your dome and look at the depth.
Yeah, so that's what you got to be looking at. The mistakes people make. They look, the bid's still here. No, not really, because I'll probably have that shares before you will, because I probably already hit it up top.
Right. I mean, that's really important to do, the sweep. And so, an important fact is, like, if you're one of the dribblers that got caught all the way up with some of those stocks that, that all collapse. I mean, we could rattle them all off, but we won't. For that bull market run, they would always, I can get out, I get out here. Well, hopefully you've learned that, things gap down, Facebook and all those sort of showing you that, and things gap up. Look at Snap and Amazon yesterday. So that's on a bigger scale, but that same gap, this is what Madar was talking about, happens instantly just on order flow. Remember, in the aftermarket, they move like this because there's not as much punters. So they sweep the offers. They also hit the bids, and they hit through it.
The wild, wild west.
Yeah. It's not for the faint-hearted, and if you are going to trade it, be well aware of the risks and know what you're doing. And if you've missed it, you missed it. Sometimes you may choose to go the other way, but just be real versed. Be really strong on having strong mental character, because, as we've said many times, this game's all about your mind. We can teach you everything you want to know, but if you're not that right mindset to be a trader, it is a dangerous situation. But you can see it there. This is a 15-second chart. That's why you're seeing it all. We tried 1 second. That was a little bit too fast, mate. So let's over the week. We just touched on it real quick. In Europe, the only market that was up was England, which is interesting given that old Boris over there, he had 5 of his cabinet quit today and yesterday, right? So he's obviously got a few issues. He'll think better next time when he has a party. Anyway, they actually finished up 0.6%. Italy was flat. The rest of Europe was down. Germany was down the most. And that most of that selling in that index in particular was yesterday after the ECB. As far as next week, what we're going to be looking at for data, you got consumer credit on Monday. They actually look at this to see how much the consumer is buying, basically. And it's interesting, that's again the difference between Main Street and Wall Street. Well, Main Street's being smart about it. They've been saving money. But those people in Wall Street have bought all of the dribbler stocks. They're all crying because they're mad at these people not spending more money on it. On Tuesday, we get the trade balance. I believe that was a record last time. We're going to get auctions next week. You need to keep an eye on the Treasury auctions. We got the 3-year on Tuesday, mate.
Well, I have no idea.
We got the 10-year on Wednesday. That's going to be the big one, right? That's your benchmark. We got a 30-year on Thursday. That's also going to be a big one because the 30-year is it's out the curve, but it's also safe haven. And then other stats we got on, what else we got on Wednesday? You got oil, of course, every Wednesday, and every Thursday you got Natty. On Thursday, you got initial claims, so you're going to look at that after today's jobs number. The big one, though, is going to be Thursday's CPI. So interest rates are going to be your play next week with all those bond auctions, CPI, and how the currency market. You should be watching the currency markets as well as the bond market. And then on Friday, you got consumer sentiment. That's going to be interesting. You got a bunch of earnings next week. Disney's one. Peloton's earnings are next week, Madavi.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason this rumor's probably out there, and it could have legs, right? They could be announcing it.
It could. They'll probably announce it because their earnings are going to be terrible. We know this.
Oh, come on, mate. They're a great company.
Announce it before the earnings, so nobody will even care about the earnings.
Yeah, because they warned already, though, so that might already be taken into account on the earnings, right?
Yeah, but people don't know how horrible it is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that reminds... So remember, this is why... As you kind of get better at trading or more experienced, sometimes you come undone because you assume people know all this stuff or take it in. The best example I ever saw was on the Federal Reserve minutes, where in December, right? So they'd already brought out, had their FOMC, they'd had their statement. Jerome had said we're raising rates, we're increasing the taper, blah, blah, blah. It sold off. Then they ramped it right into December 31, purely on bonuses. And again, we saw the same thing on January 31. So we try to give it insight of kind of what we think is kind of a lot of other people think that trade a bit of size or experienced in size and that sort of stuff, right?
This might be the blow up rally, the last one. Maybe.
On Peloton, yeah, nice work, bro. And then
I only got half of my position left.
But so that's good. I mean, that's what I always do. I tend to get out too early. Kind of famous for that, really. But I protect those profits.
I've done okay on it, so I'm way ahead of the game right now. So I'm going to try to risk this as much as I can, and see if it might bust up to the highs. But hey, hopefully they'll come and say deal complete.
Yeah. Well, you got the position. That would be nice.
You got to remember, people's imagination are bigger than reality. So that's why these stocks go crazy, and when the real news comes out, they sell off.
And a lot of them just don't think. It's all reactionary. So remember, the majority of people, and this is why you should learn to trade and understand it rather than just following someone's call. Like if you were told to buy all these tech stocks, and most people never told you to get out, right? Because they think it's going up forever and they think they're the second coming. Then they get obliterated, and we've seen it all over Twitter. All of a sudden, these same people are telling you to buy everything, or either telling you not to buy anything, or they're all mega bearish. I mean, no. So half of them don't even trade. FYI. I mean, actually, I'd tell a lie. It's probably 80%, right? So
they were on TV out today calling for new highs. That was the S&P 3,700 and.
Oh man, I'm at 5,000.
They had them all back. This one's on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, so you've got all that out there, but so it's important just to understand most people are like sheeple in the sense that they just blindly follow, right? Lambs for the slaughter. So keep all that in. And so when something's gone too far, there's nothing wrong with getting out too early. I know a lot of good punters that traders and investors have been in oil from $20-30. We've all been... And a lot of us have exited. Certainly, there's no way I'm 100% still long, right? Because you don't know, and they're violent. You've had violent moves, and you put on structures. So that's the same thing in stocks. To have that mentality, because there's nothing wrong with getting out too early. It's not good to get out too late. That's when the issues happen, right? So remember, you want to trade like a footballer, rugby player, have a good defense. And you build on from that, right? So you look at that, and you use these things to accumulate, and you'll see, which is what Madavi did, right? And so you build a good position, then you get out, and you keep, because remember, you're protecting yourself from that big wipeout that can happen, right? That you don't know about. So I think we went through all the markets, right?
You got to look at it like this. The reason that Tom Brady was able to play 22 years, he avoided the big hits.
Yeah. Well, and he did marry a supermodel. But anyway.
She's got tons of. She's richer than him. And there goes. Hey, there's PTON talking about Kramer now. He's jumping on board.
So Kramer's on it. So is Kramer the new? I can't even think of his name now. But he's just a shocker lately, right? Well, welcome all the new subscribers that have joined us over the last hour or so. I see you on Twitter as well. So welcome all that. We try to keep it as real as we can, and try to make it not too boring. But there's a lot of things that we're discussing. It's kind of what goes around the trading room. We're watching, obviously, eyes up on what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, and the different angles taken by the US or by Russia and China, and how it's pushing it all together. How that affects commodities, currencies, bonds, stock market. And Madavi mentioned yesterday, it was really interesting how Omicron, even though it's got bigger and bigger, it's barely on the news anymore. So they changed the narrative, and they've really stuffed it up with oil and gas. Will they admit it's another thing? And my theory on the wag the dog still holds true there, mate. The more I see it. And out of the stocks today, you saw energy stocks again strong today. And obviously Amazon dragged its sector up. But at some point, you got to look at the valuation and look at what you're buying with that. There's a lot of difference from buying Exxon to buying a stock that was pretty well dead at 50 cents, which is now $12 or $15. It still has massive debt and doesn't have the revenue in that sector, right? Don't just think because it's oil and gas it has to go up. And also, same thing, you got to be aware of where you take profit and stuff. But this is trading out nice. Here's that little pop. You can see they're taking out the offers here on Peloton.
I want to see a share back up 35.
I haven't got it all night, mate.
Make it 40. Why stop there?
Well, that's kind of what happens. We've been fortunate last year to benefit from Rivian was one of those. That's why I knew it at the back of my head when I saw that Amazon one. So you try to get immersed in the market, and Donny was another one like that, where and so there's no holding after hours unless it's news. So
a lot of buyers are coming in. This is called the changing of the guard. So when you got something like this steady and trading a lot of volumes, the guys who want out are getting out, but there's support for it because there's buyers there. So that's called the changing of the guard. Now let's see who's going to be stronger. Is it the buys or the sells?
Right, and so that's what we call the axe. Who's running this thing, right? And it's different trading oil or gas or S&P. Some of these stocks are small and don't have many players in them, right? And on Peloton, you could have there's other factors to consider, so you need to look at your OI, see where your optionality is as well, right? If there's people who have to cover their puts and calls, or you can look at your volume chart. If you use market profile, look for Virgin POCs, because that'll show you the people that might are averaging where they are, and a lot of people just want to break even on stocks like this. So that's your top side, right? You got all those factors as well. Downside, that people are short this stock, right? I mean, we just gapped. What did we gap up on this chart?
Short having something, talk about a buyout with Amazon. They know they got the money.
Yeah, and they got some Rivian. Well, actually, they don't have the cash where they can. So let's look quickly at earnings for next week. I'm looking at a list of the main ones. Alibaba's out on Monday. I thought they came out a Monday ago. I could be wrong, but so Alibaba, the important thing for that is for SoftBank. That's SoftBank's biggest position, I believe. I can't believe they're you know what? Are they the biggest shareholder? One of the two. Anyway, Alibaba's out on Monday. Most China and Hong Kong have been off with Lunar Week. I think all week. I didn't look today, but I'm pretty sure. I know they were off yesterday. Then Tuesday, you got another one, another dribbler favourite. Chipotle is out. NCR is out. And Pfizer.
It's going to be next week, too.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. So Pfizer's, Peloton's out next week as well. Pfizer, That'll get a lot of obviously a lot of talk because of the virus, and they'll go on about their boosters and vaccines, and they'll probably come out. I mean, this is all speculation. They'll probably come out that they're ready for a different thing for Omicron, probably. Wednesday we have Disney, so a lot of the related companies, not the theme park side, but by the streaming side. So you got Netflix. People like that. Sometimes Fubo moves around when Disney's earnings are out because Fubo has... Disney's one of their shareholders. Remember they got them in the deal. Murdoch basically gave them Fubo. Let's get rid of this when they sold them Fox. Twilio. That's our friend Chemo's favourite stock, isn't it, mate? Twilio is twillowing. And MGM's out. Uber is out on Wednesday. So that and Lyft will have some. That's another dribbler special. There's a bit of a dribbler week next week. So Thursday we got another big one. Coca-Cola. Zillow's out. Zillow's been a good one to trade around earnings because remember they dumped all that buying program. So it's had some.
They still have the home. They're not gonna sell it. Giveaway price of this. They're just gonna run it or sell it.
Oh well, so they're becoming more. Actually, that's an interesting concept. I always thought they should do that because it makes it more like a REIT, and if they do it properly, it's going to get a better class of investor. You know.
Yeah.
Dribbler special. Twitter is out on Thursday.
Thursday, or I thought you said Tuesday.
No, Twitter's on Thursday. Who do I say on Tuesday? Tuesday's Chipotle. No, I mentioned it was a dribbler special. Probably that's why.
I don't understand stocks like Chipotle.
Yeah, because we're not dribblers.
I mean, that thing traded was it $2,000 now?
I don't know. Let's have a CMG, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get rid of PTON.
Yeah, I'll look up.
CMG, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Chipotle Mexican Grill.
That's 1,500. Huh.
Remember this thing got destroyed because people got sick eating there? Look how much it came back. So that's a daily. Let's look at a weekly on this.
I mean...
Yeah, if you've got stocks you want us to look at, just type them here in the chat box. Weekly. Yeah, so... Well, actually, you know what? Let's look at monthly. Because it was quite a few years ago, I think.
It was a couple years ago. They were down but they got down I think $500.
Oh, this is Check's one. He doesn't have the site on it. I'm not sure how to get it. But yeah, you can see where it was. It was, wow. So I think this was it. It was 800, maybe. And then it fell down to 280. So it was salmonella or something, right? It was something like that. Anyway, they had it. This here looks like it was this was the COVID bounce. And look at this move. So it actually got up to 1970. Is that the high?
Up to 2,000.
Yeah, basically 2. And we've fallen back with the recent pullback to 1,300. And so we're sitting right here. We closed today at... 1483.44. So anyway, that's I haven't traded that for a long time, mate. It'd be years.
It doesn't go in it ever. I don't trade it much.
I think we did alright in it once or twice. I mean, I've only traded on earnings, right? I recall it was around $400 or $500. So.
Yeah, and shorting Tesla.
You're banned from that. Yeah. Elon even called up on that one. I said, "What the hell's that boy doing? He knows not to sell it."
Oh yeah. That's quickly dilutes like a year's wage.
Well, maybe a decade's wage. You got that one wrong. He says Chipotle's pulled back again. That was a good lighten up there. What were we talking? We're talking about earnings.
I mean, I'm giving it a little bit more risk. You know, I'll take it to not to break even, but maybe close to it, because I want to see. So I'll risk $1 of profit to see if I can make 3. You know, because you always got to be killing it.
Exactly. Yeah, you leave some to work. Hey, here's one on Friday. This is one we've had a bit of fun in over the years. Under Armour reports on Friday. That can be a good mover.
Yeah, that could be good.
You know, be careful of going in of a position a lot of these because they do gap around a lot. But you want to look ahead because you can do optionality and get cheap calls or puts earlier on in the week. So there's one thing I wanted to mention. I just got sent a bunch of short interest. So here's one of interest, RK, Kathy's stock. The short interest there is $1.96 billion. These are from S3. 28 million shares shorted. That's 16.79%. That's a big number. But those people might be happy to be shorted. And you know what, Madavi? Some of that may well be that ETF.
All you got is it's smart. It's like a smart S.
Yeah, I'm reckoning that might be it. Right?
Shark.
Yeah. Something you trade that one.
Yeah, so that's an inverse one. So I think it has to do a 1-to-1 if it's going to mimic it, right? So I think a lot of it's got to be that.
Yeah, I think so. XRT, they're watching IWM. Let me see if they got some specific. Okay, XRT has 14% of the float short. Is that right? No. That can't be right. 83%. I'm not sure what XRT is. As far as the spider goes, remember a lot of this is hedging, and when you start talking about ETFs, they could have optionality and all that. So you got to look at the whole picture. It's like people come to me, this guy's doing this on options, or that. You don't know their site. So be very careful what you see on social media from self-made experts. So 15% of the float, but there's two different sources. One's 13%, one of 15% of spiders short. That sounds pretty reasonable to me. It doesn't sound heavily shorted given what it is, and you know the puts and calls. The Qs are not as short as a spider. That's surprising. 13 and 12. IWM, this one makes more sense. 35 and 26% of the Russell is short. IWM is a Russell. That explains that, well, it was hard for me to make money on those puts that day, right? We went through ARC. Weber, it's a bit of a dribbler. 35% short, 35 and 25. So one is the published, one is S3's algorithms. So they have a slightly different system to get it to you a little bit quicker. Reli, that's one we traded. Was that this year or last year? RELI, remember that one? Still a big short on that. I'm seeing if there's any that are reporting next week. Oh, Root. That's what was one of my favourite shorts. Root Insurance, remember that? 17.5% short. And 14.9. So the second number I'm reading out is the S3. Let's see if there's anything else of interest. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are little stocks that we don't really trade. BKKT still has 32% short. A lot of them run it right to the end so they don't have to pay tax. I hope it goes broke, right? So keep that in mind. And people want to be short for a reason. So here's the big one. Tesla's short interest is only 2.7% of the float. I thought that would have been higher than that, Madavi.
Yeah, but be careful with shorting these high interest ones, because if you're wrong and they catch a bid, you're toast.
Yeah, so often we watch that. So when that styles on, there's a couple of trading rooms we like where they've got some good traders for that. Maybe we'll bring one of them on one day. So there's a certain group of people that do well at that. That's the squeezes. But Most of those got blown apart when they didn't understand. The people short stuff for a reason. So Tesla, very small percent. I mean, tiny, mate. 2%. So no one's short that, which means everyone's long it, right? Shorts actually, if the market's short, once it grabs a hold, it actually helps it go up, you know?
GME. Just look at GME.
Yeah, 100%. And then, well, here's another one we made money shorting. Space only has 16% short. SoFi is another one, only 13% short. I'm just giving you the top number. Here's Rivian, Amazon's little baby, 7.7% short. That was a recent IPO, so a lot of people probably aren't allowed to IPO. All right, here's the one we're looking for. So Peloton that we're trading right now, I thought it would be heavier than this because S3 is pretty updated. They have 11% short and 12.4 is the overall. But still, that doesn't sound like a big number, right? That's 35 million shares. So even when it's not a big amount, if you got an event that we just saw in Peloton, that is significant, right? Important to take into account. Nikola, wow. You'd think that'd be 100% short. That's 28 and 21. Netflix, wow, only 1.9 and 1.8. So
anything over 5% is a high short number.
Well, I'd go, depending on who it is, though, if they got ETFs and stuff. Lucid, see, this is a high number. Lucid, 21 and 16. I should tell you what the fee is, too, because that makes a difference. Hood's only got 10 and 9 and a 1.5 fee. Huh? Sorry?
21% is a great candidate for a short squeeze.
Yeah. There's a bunch of these that is there. And we'll put all these on a list. Donnie, here's a candidate. Donnie has 20 and 17% short. But this is the other thing I wasn't reading out earlier. I should have. Their fees 81.82% to be short. So that means each day, it's an annualized number, but it's 91% to be short. So that's a big squeeze candidate there. But remember, the guy short it might have sold puts at these kind of high vol. DNA, that was one we were big short. I remember that. Sorry, Kathy. BBBY. Wow. Listen to this, Madavi. BBBY has 30 and 23. They're short numbers. And their fee is only 0.3%. So when it's a really low level, like that, a 0.3 and 30% short, you know that there's a lot of comfortable shorts on that. So a lot of people obviously think that company goes broke. Because wasn't he buying like 400 million worth or something? Yeah. Some big number. So there's 28 million of them short. So that's one, when you see it build up on your charts, you see the order flow. That's when you look at these things. AMC. Oh, well, some of those numbers I was reading actually are from a few days ago. But anyway, we'll update that a little bit more. We just wanted to share that with you, some of the stuff we look at. PTON's here. I think we've gone through all the markets. I believe we did. Is there anything else? Any other markets you want us to look at? Shares? We did all the stock markets. We did the currency. We did the oil. We should look at the Metaverse real quick. Let's see this. So we saw, as we expected, this trades with NASDAQ, right? So NASDAQ had that rebound with Amazon. Look what Bitcoin is, back over $40,000, trading at 4666.
That's like the S&P in 2008.
Yeah, when it was 666.
6666. I should have known.
Exactly. So this bounced hard, and I want to say, it's going off memory, the big level that it broke when it finally broke that support level was around 39,000. So we're over that right now. So we'll see if this is just a spit of a spit. If you look at your weekly, we're back into the cloud, and the heads up came from Ethereum, which is is been behaving a lot better, even with that wormhole attack that I had earlier in the week. Ethereum's jumped $400 in the last little bit. Look at this. It's an hourly chart. This has all happened in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hours, mate. So we broke from 38,000 to 40,000. And if I look at this on a 4 hour, did I just do the wrong one? So we look at a 4 hour, here's what's happened. So Bitcoin's coming back. There's that other level to test this. Looks like 41,000. And here was your other support, was around here, I believe. Yeah. So look at that. We're over all that. As far as Murray goes, this has been a nice 2H fractal. So if you use your Adams theory, that is 32,871. So that's $1,600. From here, potentially, this can get to about 42,200, which would just give you shorter here. That's just potentially not telling you to buy it or sell it. So Johnny, as I said, he's been hanging around the Zook. They're trying to work out what the heck happened to the Metaverse. So we don't have him to comment on these.
It's very funny.
Oh, he's actually turned back up. He's come back. How did your meeting go with old Zook there? What did you guys talk about?
Well, him trying to make too big of a noise too early on.
Is he still crying or what? I did see the clip where he was crying. Well, he did. Here's a little fun fact for everyone. So Zuckerberg had the biggest loss of wealth ever in the history of mankind with that move in one day.
Crying.
And it's gone down further. So now, he did claim, in all fairness, that his crying came from a torn cornea. Now, last time I looked, I could be wrong. Don't take this the wrong way. But I would almost guarantee that bloke's never hit the ball up in rugby or got in on a cage or anything like that. So I'd love to know how he tore his cornea. So... did his wife maybe his wife belted him? Sorry, remember this is just a joke, so I'm not going to spread rumors. And tore his cornea when she said, "Darling, you've just dropped $10 billion." He said at the end of the night, "Actually, it's more like 20, darling." Well, actually, as we're counting, it's a little bit more now. So anyway, and then Bezos chimed in and said, "Didn't I buy a yacht for that last week?" So anyway, so all fun and games. So this is a very impressive bid back on.
I think you got your money back from that stock tip he gave you.
Which one's that one?
The Zuckerberg stock tip.
Oh, where was his stock tip? Tell me more. Was that yeah. So that's one bloke I wouldn't take too many tips from. Hey, what do the Winkle brothers think about old?
That's what I was wondering.
I bet you they've been out on the town
laughing because they position themselves nicely with Gemini and doing the NFTs, which are actually kind of a safe harbor right now. That's been going through a transition.
Hang on. You just used the word safe harbor and NFT in the same
from the
sentence.
tokenization part of it, you got all these tokens out there, and NFTs and that market are still moving around.
Thank God it's Friday. I can have a drink. But on that comment, as I said, you might have missed this earlier, but this is our theme today. It's a Russian proverb. The church is near, but the road is icy. The bar is far, but we will walk carefully.
Hey, did you hear about Russia, by the way, too? They went from banning it, and the government came out and said to the Central Bank of Russia, you can't ban stuff without the parliament. So parliament came in.
Hang on. I am definitely going to have too much drink tonight. So... this is Vladimir Putin, who's never asked his parliament for anything except, hey, just give us another 8 years.
Yeah, and then they came in and they wanted to regulate it, and then they just announced that they did the first DFA, which is a digital financial asset, which is basically improving the way they know that the digital assets are going to move and tokenization is going to happen. So they use this Atomize as a new tokenization, which is going to be, basically used because it all comes down to taxation. With this stuff going on, they want to They want to make sure they get their taxes.
Well, here's my theory. I haven't looked into it, but I do know enough about Russia. I would suggest either an oligarch has a position, perhaps Russia, just a thought, the Russian mafia runs a lot of their stuff through there.
Get sanctioned?
Yeah, a little bit of that. And he is hanging out with Shay. So has China still got it banned?
Well, you know what's funny is that they do, but Russia's now working with China on the.
Oh, they're hanging together right now. They're over there today.
They want to use euros. They want to get away from the dollars to use euros. But then you've got the digital ruble and the digital yuan. It's like you don't know what's going to happen with all these different balls in the air.
Oh, mate, I reckon I'm with Elon. I think the Doge is going to be the coin. So.
Bitcoin out now.
Who hasn't got their own Bitcoin? Shit, I'm going to make one up on the computer this weekend. Boys, you're off school today. Let's make our own coin.
The Natty coin.
The Mateverse. That's right. We got Nattyverse, Mateverse. Well, Natty gets boring pretty soon. We'll get through this winter stuff. So, it's a seasonal thing. So I try to warn the dribblers to stay away from that stuff. I mean, we're going to have a beer for what's his word for Joe Biden tonight for just how much money he's made Texas. It always works out funny when you hate something. Sometimes the smack comes back and smacks you in the face, doesn't it? So,
15-minute timer.
So, well, let's get back to Peloton. We've had a pretty long one, but Davey did it while you're away. He walked through everyone a live trade on PTON, which was very nice.
Yeah, I'm still in it. I'm just waiting. I'm almost getting stopped out, but I'm hoping for that last little run.
Right. Nice work, though.
So.
Well, you got the bulk of this move here. That was nice. 26 up to here. And your trail. But look, so this is a 15-second chart, Johnny. So let me make it a little bit wider for everyone to see if there's a pattern. So when we go to the 5-minute, you can see the flagpole and the flag on it. So you can see that developing. So this should, in 80% of the time, this will be 1, 2, 3, and give another run to do an ABC to correct this. So that's a fairly standard pattern. So a good week for everyone, and a tiring week, very volatile, lots of late nights. I had it was a good week, but trading natty oil and the bloody stock market can take its toll on you. So don't, and I may be different to a lot of people in saying this, but there's a reason. If you actually trade and you need the intensity for trading, give yourself a rest over the weekend. Don't going over and over and over and getting analysis paralysis. The best time I think you do research is when you take your break during the day of the trading week. Read up the good stuff, the good authors, the good books. Work on because psychology is your most important thing. Try and stay healthy and fit. Spend time with your family. Ask yourself, what the hell do I do this for, right? Don't go wasting it on overdoing it. And I know a lot of people say otherwise. It's just my take on it. And I think Johnny Madavi...
I just switched to Bitcoin.
Yeah, you need... you just get a Bitcoin. He's another level. But I don't do that. We basically, about 3 people put together that weekly report. We try to get that out. We enjoy time with your family and friends. Watch a bit of the Olympics. I can't say Australia does real well in the Winter Olympics, not enough snow. But US, Canada, a lot of people come from there that are watching here. We have a lot of Scandi friends and relatives. Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, they always do well. So, huh?
The bobsled team.
The bobsled team. Yeah. So that's your weekend's homework from Trades Community. Go watch cool runnings. How about that, huh? Actually, Australia has a bobsled team. A lady I know, one of the best CrossFitters in the world, is on it, actually.
So this is the first time it's qualified in like 20 years again.
Which, the Jamaica?
Africa, one of those.
Oh, from Africa? Oh, that could be cool. So that's a bit of fun. Make it fun. Try to avoid the political nonsense you're going to get about it. Just, we all know what's going on. Just enjoy the sport. Be grateful and thankful to these athletes that dedicate their life to this crap. In fact, I'll block any idiot on Twitter that goes on and on that couldn't even fight their way out of a wet paper bag. And then knocks these athletes, give me a break. The dribblers. So that's a rule if you're a dribbler of that description, you will be blocked. Am I wrong?
Amen.
Amen, brother. Okay. Let's hope Vlad doesn't have too many vodka shots of Shay over there and decides to do a little bit of invasion. Just to give old Joe a little bit of a test.
Hey, one thing is, I know he's not going to invade us. He's not going to hang out there for a month and be like, "Hey, we're here." Last time.
Well, if he is going to do it, it's going to be over. If he's going to do it now, and if I'm Putin, I'm doing it now. Now remember the guys. Most of you know he's pretty sick and everything. He's 70 years old, so. Does he,
The last time he didn't give no warnings. He didn't hang out on the border to fucking give him high fives.
You're talking about in Georgia. Well, it wasn't as secret as what you think. But this is a whole different game. So, but anyway, my whole theory. Wag the dog. He's been there for a while. Blah blah blah. Anyway, but if there is a chance, you can't. The reality is this. He's done it before. There is a pattern. It's been at the Olympics twice. This would be the third time. If he's going to do it, there is a chance there. So you got to be mindful of all different things. He is at the point where he's not the same mentally sound mind he was 10 years ago. That's the reality. He's not at the Biden situation. There's all these other factors.
You think he's lost his marbles? I don't think so.
No. I didn't say he's lost them. He's not at the same capacity. He does have a serious illness. That's pretty well known.
Really?
But at the end of and so at the end of the day, we trade oil and gas, we trade currencies, we trade this, and we look at how that all fits in and all the different bifurcations. There's multitude of them. We don't know for sure. Any of these things. So don't ever take anything as gospel.
You can settle this. They put Putin against Biden. The winner wins.
But in a cage?
Yeah.
Well, there's a 10-year age difference, isn't it?
Well, that's all right. Putin might tie a hand behind his back or something.
Oh, my goodness. Actually, I'm going to put my money on, so we're going to have a cage fight between world leaders. Okay. We'll do this quickly. I'm going to give them to you. You guys got to pick one. Okay, we're going to go Trudeau from Canada versus Boris Johnson in England. Who do we take?
Boris Johnson and Trudeau?
Yeah.
Man, it's a tough one. I go Boris Johnson. He seems like a wild man. Trudeau's kind of sensitive.
Can't be sensitive in the cage. Let's go. We got to have we go. You got to pick out.
Just ask me.
Sorry?
The cage is a very lonely place. I've been there. It's not that much fun. It's glory.
No, it's a bit like trading Peloton. Let's see. I'm trying to think if we got to match these up fairly. Okay. I can't remember I'm trying to think of his name. The new leader from Germany. Merkel's hung a belt up. So new leader of Germany, whatever his name is. Sorry, I can't remember your name. Versus Macron from France. Who do we go there?
I don't even know who the new guy is. I've never even seen him.
Yeah, he just looks like a standard white German man. Does that sound racist? Was it meant to be? I'm just trying to describe him. Huh?
Ron just got slapped in the face by an ordinary guy. He just slapped him.
So you've gone the German. Probably a good bet. I'd say he'd probably walk into the cage at 5-2 on. Okay, who else have we got? We got
Erdogan. All right.
Erdogan. Oh, well, he's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, we got
Erdogan versus the Israeli Prime Minister.
Oh, Aragon was way.
Erdogan versus the new guy. I don't know his name either.
Someone's already rubbed his head off. You know.
Well, actually, Putin versus Erdogan. I'd pay to see that one.
Man.
That'd be a good one.
Putin still wrestles with bears. I'll take Putin.
Okay, yeah, okay. Hard to do. So you're going to laugh at this. I was just talking to some mates today back home about the international. They're talking about emerging World Cup for rugby league coming up. And so everyone, guess what game out of these are the emerging nations, which means barely play it, few punters and dribblers playing it. So which game do you think everyone wants to see? I'll give you a hint. There's meant to be a war.
What is it, Batman?
No, rugby league, emerging nation.
Oh, cool. Only like a third of the world plays it, but yeah.
Well, there's not many have the physical ability to play it. So that's the reality. At that
But if
speed,
Matt Damon played it, I could play it, right?
Matt Damon on TV. So basically, you got to have a lot of speed. You got to be strong. You got to be mentally tough. But anyway, we're getting off track. The two countries that everyone wants to see in emerging nations is Ukraine versus Russia. Can you imagine that game?
That has to go on in the metaverse for sure.
Oh, that ain't the metaverse. That's the real world. They did play, by the way, about 6 months ago, and Ukraine pumped them about 90-0. But so that went on. Anyway, I've run out of world leaders. I can't really think of any more right now.
I'll give you a couple.
Who?
We already did Biden, and who else do we got? We got the guy from
The guy from Brazil's crazy.
Assad. Yeah, we got him.
Yeah, Assad versus him. Yeah, I'd probably go from the crazy guy from Brazil. Mind you, he did have COVID, so.
Oh yeah, I think Assad. He was in the army. He was an eye doctor.
But he's 106, isn't he?
You know, huh?
He's 106, isn't he?
No, bro. Assad, he's like my age.
106. You rest my point.
Yeah. No, he's pretty young.
And we're going to go, okay. I love it. I'd put an Italian prime minister, but last I saw, they didn't know who their prime minister was.
Who motherfucks everybody? That guy deserves a beating.
Which one?
The guy from the Philippines.
Oh, he's crazy too. Yeah, there's a few crazy boys out there. Okay, well, he's easy. I'd put him up against North Korea.
Hey, we'll put him against Xi.
Yeah, they'd go all right. That one could be a good. Yeah, people pay good money for that too.
Yeah, I told you I come over there. We got that guy from North Korea, but that guy might get in the ring and have a heart attack. I mean, he's so fat.
No, he's trimmed down a lot. I don't know if Dennis Rodman's still his trainer or not, but he's trimmed down a lot.
Heart attack because he's so fat.
Yeah, he nearly died. He was basically brain dead. Was the story not long ago? Or he nearly died. I can't remember. It was a stroke or everything because of his fitness or lack of, and then he got on a health thing.
He's 5'2", 350.
No, but I don't think he's that anymore. But that's quite the bowling ball if that's his shape.
I know. If he's in shape, he might have a chance.
So who else you putting money on, mate?
Well,
I mean, we got to come on, Johnny. Come up with a fight. We got to, You know what we should do? We're going to actually go away, people, and think about this rather than waste your time. We did kind of get off track. We are a trading podcast. We kind of got off track there. So everyone have a great weekend. We will put out our weekly report with all the weekly levels and daily levels that we're watching on all the major currencies, major commodities, and major markets in the United States. There's also usually a pretty good editorial the Cautious Investor puts out, and of course the bond markets. But I challenge you to find a more comprehensive, meaningful weekly report. And it's free, of course. It's at the right price. So we're thankful for that. The people contributed. And very thankful, as always, we put out a tweet on this to those that contribute to the Vortex and the Barrel, the natural gas and oil weeklies, which have all the fundamental stuff. For people, that I'm more technical and crowd. I have a basic fundamental of a lot of this, but they go really into depth for those people that really want that. Very relevant. Oil and gas is the most important commodities by far right now on multiple levels. Geopolitical, control, inflation, and all these factors. And we try to also keep up to date in the renewable change there. With EVs, and actually a good friend of mine, I'm going to try to bring him on, is a professor of all that sort of stuff. So I have to check whether his university will allow that to happen. Anything else, lads?
No, all right, guys, good weekend.
Well, thanks for a good week. Johnny, it looks like Bitcoin's helping you out in the Metaverse tonight, so Thanks for that. We'll leave you, Peloton. Thanks for sharing that trade with us, Madame.
I'm still in it. It's actually going up right now.
Yeah, I've got it on live right here, 32.11. So make sure you, as you'd say, smash that like button. Go through and smash every video we did.
Ring the bell.
Exactly. Make sure you subscribe if you like. We do share it. Any topics you would like us to discuss that has a little bit to do with trading, macro, micro, stuff that we talk about. We do carry on a bit. It is Friday. We kind of burn out after a long week, so we did digress into some nonsense. But hey, keep it real, keep it fun, trade smart. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye now.